It was a quiet day. Throughout the whole day, I didn't hear a single sound that suggested that my neighbor was going about her life. No sounds of doors or windows opening. No sounds of banging on the walls to catch my attention. That's why I couldn't get a wink of sleep. From night to morning, and then night again. Truthfully speaking, I did get about 10 minutes of sleep, but that sleep brought forth nothing but regret, disgust, and anguish. I tried distracting myself with work, but I was done with all the magazines before noon. The only job remaining was the compiling of the interviews, but I couldn't bring myself to listen to her voice. In the end, I found myself just laying down on the bed like this, but unable to close my eyes, let alone fall asleep. I kept staring at the ceiling until the sun set, because whenever I close my eyes, I can see it. I can see the vague smile Kazusa let out when we parted, back at the station last night. I can see Kazusa's impish, yet painful gaze when she looked at me. Yet painful gaze when she looked up at me. Back when we were in the music room that evening. I can see her tear-filled eyes, her sweet, warm breaths, and her lips, which I'm sure would have felt soft and warm. In the blink of an eye, an unforgivable passion envelops my entire body. And in response, I rush into the bathroom, swiftly turn on the faucet, and soak my face in cold water. I do this over and over again, even through the numbing sensation of my hands and the stretching sensation of my face. I attempt to spread the chilling sensation to my head in an attempt to freeze the unrelenting images that keep on surfacing inside my mind. It's okay. I shake my head, scattering drops of water still on my face. Then I start speaking to the mirror. I rebuke my miserable reflection showing my pale expression and bloodshot eyes in the mirror. I tell myself that it's all right. I tell myself that I've only lost my sense of reason temporarily, because over the past 5 years, we've formed an unshakable bond, an unbreakable connection that no one can come between.
That's why this time is our final farewell.
It's over now. Nothing ever happened. And nothing will happen from now on. After all, there won't be another chance to. But then, why? Why am I trying to convince myself that everything's all right? I should be telling someone else that everything's all right, shouldn't I? It's something I should be telling Setsuna to put her at ease, isn't it? January 27th, Sunday.
We're here? Hey, it's still not open. Wouldn't it have been better if we took our time and went shopping instead? No way. Nothing good would come from being with you. That's because you keep cutting me off whenever I try to talk about anything. That's because you keep treating me like other women.
It feels weird to have you act considerate after all this time.
What do you want me to do?
Besides, I wanted to come here before the concert hall opens.
Haruki, right?
Do you think he'll come?
No idea. He said he's not coming when I asked him over the phone last week.
I've noticed Setsuna is acting strange too. It feels like they're going through something, those two.
If only they could resolve it by themselves, with just the two of them.
Don't say anything weird. The third person is a world-famous celebrity now.
And even then, she was the daughter of a world-famous celebrity.
I told you to stop saying that. Their home situations and even the worlds they live in are completely different.
Why did you come looking for Haruki this early then?
I hope he won't come.
It feels pretty bad for us to be saying this when we used to be Toma's friends though.
But what should we do if he does come? What should we tell him?
That's simple. We'll greet him and say, "Fancy seeing you here." Then we'll be with him throughout the whole concert and make plans to go home together once it's over.
Please, Takia, make sure you find Haruki, okay?
Will you do anything I tell you if I find him?
I'll think about it.
All right then. I'll keep my eyes wide open.
No, I'm sorry. Even if I say that, I'm sure that in the end, I'll just...
Stop talking like other women. It feels weird hearing you act so delicate.
Yes, I managed to get the other party to forgive us somehow.
I see. Well then, I'll go ahead and make a call to apologize.
Please do. I'm really sorry about this.
Oh, everyone makes mistakes. It's more understandable given that this was your first event. We've already taken that into consideration.
But I did cause a lot of trouble for the person in charge there.
Just make sure it goes well next time and everything will work out. You still have work left to do over there tomorrow, so wrap things up for now.
Yeah.
Oh, right. How about going to a karaoke place? I've heard that you can manage just fine alone.
Chief?
Well then, good work. Forget about today and rest. Then do your best tomorrow.
Yes, thank you very much. I made a mistake at work. I always hoped for and wanted this job, yet nothing went well at all. I'm such an idiot. I had all these delusions about success, never realizing I'm still not worth half a person. Why am I so different from you, Haruki-kun? We went to the same school for 7 whole years. Tell me, Haruki-kun, do you ever fail at your job? If you do fail, how do you move on from it? I want to use it as a reference for tonight. You see this text, then... No, not yet. After all, nothing has been solved yet. I can't let myself lose heart. The seats are almost full, though that's a given considering the ticket sales. Did anyone come to the dressing room? No one's allowed entrance except for you. I've made sure to tell the staff to make an exception for a single person. I even sent a text to him. Perhaps he's restraining himself. Or perhaps he'll appear after the concert is over. He won't come here. Did you have a quarrel? We don't have quarrels. Our relationship wasn't like that from the start. But I don't really care anyway. I'm satisfied as long as he comes to the concert. Did you perchance find him in the audience? No, I haven't seen him since I've left this place even once. Then why? We don't have quarrels. Our relationship isn't like that, but he'll come. I'm certain he'll come. Really? I'm sure he's listening somewhere. He's listening to me play the piano.
Welcome back.
I'm Okaso from room 1415.
I'm Ogiso from room 1415. Ogiso-sama, I see. Here, this is your room key. I wish you good evening.
Thank you.
Also, since some time ago, this guest has Setsuna. Huh? Setsuna, I'm sorry. It took 3 hours to go all the way to Shinosaka Station by bullet train. From there, I had to take another 15 minutes on private railway, and then I had to wait in the hotel lobby for an hour. Yet, the time spent doesn't matter, because we've been apart for much longer.
Haruki-kun.
Setsuna is finally right in front of me again. I'm finally able to meet Setsuna again.
You're so unfair, Haruki-kun.
As Setsuna stirs the milk she's poured into her coffee, she finally speaks.
To think you'd only appear when I failed at my job? Not to mention the distance you traveled to come here.
Well, the first part is just a coincidence. The second is an inevitability on my part.
It's almost as if you're my savior now. It makes me want to cling to you.
That's why being seen in such a favorable light is, honestly, troublesome.
I can't. I kept encouraging myself up until now that, now alone, I can't be relying on you, Haruki-kun.
I'm the one who came to cling to her. Yet, Setsuna is creating an atmosphere where she won't rely on me, and she won't let me rely on her. This is really troublesome.
How did you know this with the place?
I called the Ogiso household. They told me you were on a business trip in Osaka, so...
Jeez, I'm absolutely sure that my family trusts you more than me, Haruki-kun.
I'm aware that that's breaking the rules. I just felt like I had to see you in person, Setsuna.
You used that trick 6 months ago, too, when we had a quarrel. I said that I didn't want to talk to you. Yet, my entire family dragged me all the way to the phone.
I'm sorry. I ended up using an unfair method.
You really are unfair. Thanks to that, I'm wavering a lot right now. Enough to make me hate myself.
Setsuna, as I thought, this really is a troublesome situation. How much have I betrayed Setsuna up until now? How much have I wavered beyond what Setsuna is even capable of? Even so, Setsuna remains unaware of my terrible actions and puts herself down as if she's the one at fault.
Then, next question. Why did you come for me?
I came because of an absurd reason. Yet, she devalues herself by saying that I came for her. She's creating a situation that's only getting more and more convenient for me, but also more and more disadvantageous for Setsuna herself.
It's not like you came because you knew I was feeling down, right?
That's not it.
Obviously. I haven't told you anything yet. I was getting my hopes up over something absurd.
In this situation, will Setsuna accept everything, even if I don't explain my own circumstances? If I tell her that I simply missed her, that I felt lonely without her, will she embrace me without crying any further? Will she make me forget about Kazusa?
Haruki-kun.
Setsuna, I want to embrace Setsuna. I want to apologize to Setsuna. Normally, I'd be able to do both those things. But right now, I feel like those two choices are two mutually exclusive urges. If I pick one of them and forget about the other, I've been meeting Toma again. These past few days, every day. I didn't tell you that, Setsuna. I hid something from you again. Time between us froze still, but it didn't end up stopping because it froze over. It was more so as if it dried up, because Setsuna is staring at me without surprise, without anger, and without grief. Instead, she just keeps slowly digesting the truth laid before her. Aren't you surprised? It's almost like communication is good between a couple. Wild.
I knew.
Which is why, in her place, I relieved the time between us of its frozen state.
You see, Toma told me that she met Kazusa twice. Once in front of your apartment, Haruki-kun, and once in the audience of my concert.
Kazusa had offered me a ticket to attend Setsuna's live performance under the pretense that someone had asked her to pass it to me. I had given Kazusa that ticket because I just couldn't see Setsuna while we were still in the middle of a Cold War, and I was still spending time with Kazusa. I see. There's only one person who could connect the dots from the fact that Kazusa was seen in both of those places. So you knew. You knew I was with Kazusa all this time, Setsuna. I finally give up on calling her Toma. You got me beat, because there's no point in me putting on airs anymore. You knew everything, that I'm absolutely despicable and a cruel traitor, Setsuna. Haruki-kun. And then, at the beginning of the next week, and then, at the beginning of the week, Kazusa moved into the apartment next to me. Yoko-san. Tomoyoko apparently signed a contract for it at the time. Now it sounds like I'm putting the blame on her. If I hadn't accepted the exclusive coverage job, Kazusa would never have moved in. I confess my sins to Setsuna, even though I was supposed to have fully divulged them when I fell out with her for the first time this year. For 2 weeks after that, I was with Kazusa the whole time. The sins I've committed over the past 2 weeks up until now are so grave that what I did back then just can't compare. She's picky about her diet, so I've been making breakfast and dinner for her for a while. I cut the sugar out of her diet as much as I could and included more vegetables. I knew it was going to be Kazusa from the start, and Kazusa knew it was going to be me. Besides, she became such a celebrity before I realized it, so I did my best to make sure that her identity wasn't found out. I had plenty of chances to refuse, and I was supposed to have properly refused. She always started spewing things she didn't need to talk about during the interviews, so I ended up abridging a lot of it for her own sake. I kept telling myself that we just couldn't meet one another, and we had to conduct ourselves professionally if we absolutely had to meet. Whenever I pointed the camera at her, she turned away. So I had to take pictures when her guard was down. That earned me a lot of glares. I told myself countless times that I couldn't make Setsuna sad because I love her so much. I felt so guilty that I could barely keep myself from running away. The thought of you flickered in my head countless times, Setsuna, and it caused me so much pain. Yet, in the end, the reason why I accepted the assignment of interviewing her was because I didn't want to make Kazusa feel lonely. And I felt happy for being able to spend time with her. It was a reason that should have never managed to persuade me, for my heart was supposed to be Setsuna's. And Setsuna, just like that time, she listened to me in complete silence. Do you feel fed up with me? She shakes her head. She responds to me with only a slight shake of her head. Are you angry? Am I unforgivable? She shakes her head again. Do you never want to see my face again? She shakes her head even more firmly. All she does is sway her head left and right with more and more intensity. I am sorry. I know this isn't something that can be forgiven just by apologizing, though.
There's nothing you need to be sorry about. There's no need for that at all.
In the end, she finally becomes incapable of holding back any longer. And with an intense tone in her little voice, she tries to defend me.
Because I understand. I know that you're not in the wrong, Haruki-kun.
That's not true. I've wronged you. Horribly at that.
I know that you must have felt really troubled.
That doesn't make my sin any lighter.
I also know that it takes a lot of courage to talk to me honestly about it right now.
I merely couldn't bear hiding it anymore. I'm just a coward.
I know that you treasure me from the bottom of your heart. You've conveyed that to me clearly.
Don't defend me so much. I don't have any right.
But even then, I won't forgive you despite that.
Kazusa, it's time. How are you? Are you nervous? As if I'm just like I always am. I see. No, I'm a bit different. I can't even imagine failing now. I might even surpass you today. I would welcome such a performance with open arms. Just joking, of course, but I am composed enough to do that. Then keep up the pace until the very end. Don't get caught up by the idle thoughts halfway through. I know that. Well then, I'm going. If possible, I hope you avoid looking at the audience again. I'd received the punishment I deserved, but... I'm sorry! Not at all. The pain that I yearned for was very far off from what I was expecting. There was an audible sound when Setsuna slapped me, but I doubt that the strength she put into it would have managed to kill even a mosquito. And it must have hurt so much more for her instead. Unlike a certain someone, she's not used to hitting people. Setsuna, who got up to slap me, slowly sits back down on her chair with her head down. The guests around us direct their attention to us, and I imagine Setsuna is the one who's suffering the most from their staring.
In truth, I have no right to do this. But I couldn't bring myself to forgive you, no matter what.
Setsuna had forgotten about public appearances and condemned me.
Because, Haruki-kun, you came here to run away, right? You came here to run away from Kazusa's concert, right?
For Kazusa's sake, of all the things.
You were with her until right before the concert. You supported her all this time. Yet, you let go of her hand at the very last moment.
Setsuna.
Why would you do such a thing? No matter what happens today, and no matter what happens to you, you have to listen to her play the piano, don't you?
I'm sorry. I didn't want to betray you any further, Setsuna.
That doesn't mean you can betray Kazusa instead. That's just wrong, right?
But if I remained there any longer, I felt irritated at Kazusa for trying to distance herself from me, and I felt bewildered when Kazusa tried to get closer to me than I expected. My own actions stopped making sense, and my heart fell into disarray. I became unable to trust my own feelings. Setsuna, imagine if I had gone to where Kazusa was and not come back to you.
Don't ask me that! If my true feelings come out, something awful's going to happen.
But just because Setsuna says she's capable of lashing out at me doesn't mean she has the confidence to do it.
I am aware that I'm saying something really cruel to you right now, Haruki-kun. Not to mention something very scary. Enough to make me ruin things for myself.
As usual, she's letting out strong words with her little voice. But I can tell from her tone that Her voice had been gradually starting to shake.
But right now, let me pretend that I'm angry at you. Let me admonish you with my principles. Let me say only the right things. Let me remain my beautiful self.
Setsuna! The trembling rapidly invaded her lips and her throat, and in the blink of an eye, grew so vicious that it became impossible to hide.
Hey, Haruki-kun, go back for today. Go back to where Kazusa is.
Her words are reminiscence of what she said on the day we separated. No, I could even say that if I were to recall them in the future, I might actually remember her saying them back then rather than today. My stomach, my chest, they hurt as if pierced by countless needles. There's no point in going now. The concert's already begun. I turn my back on Setsuna's correctness and Kazusa's pain in an attempt to run away from that excruciating pain.
You might not have made it in time to see the concert start, but it'll be all right if you make it in time before it ends.
Where do you think we are? I won't be able to make it to hear her last song anymore.
Then at least show your face in the dressing room. At least congratulate her. At least apologize for not being able to go.
Enough. That's enough already. I came here to meet up with you because I fully gathered my resolve, Setsuna. There's no point in going back at this point.
You're not prepared, Haruki-kun. You're not prepared at all.
Her statement hit me right where it hurt the most, such that I wasn't able to immediately deny what she said or snap back at her. Although I had hoped for her to understand me to such an extent. In a way, it's also one of the reasons why I can't say anything. That's why I take a deep breath and squeeze out different words from my lungs. Even then, this marks the end. I will never betray you again, Setsuna. I'm neither denying her nor snapping back at her. I'm simply becoming defiant.
No, this won't end.
I see. You won't forgive me anymore. But, as I thought, Setsuna still refuses to accept it. She won't give me any affirmation. But that too is only natural. I'm likely the only person who's hurt Setsuna more than anyone else throughout her short life. And even Setsuna's incredibly compassionate heart was bound to wear out eventually. For she was not divine, only human.
No, Kazusa is the one who won't forgive. Kazusa is the one it won't end for.
Setsuna?
Kazusa is the one who won't give up.
But Setsuna's kindness once again proves my despair-filled expectations wrong.
It won't end. It's not over yet. The three of us will never be over because of something like this.
I've known that someday it will wear out, but it seems there's still some time until that day. That's not true. It's over. It ended 5 years ago.
I guarantee it. Kazusa would never give up on you just because you did something like this, Haruki-kun.
How can you be so sure of that? You haven't even met her since then.
That's because Kazusa won't come to see me. She only looked at me from afar and never called out to me.
That's because she's afraid of facing you, Setsuna. Even that is my fault.
That's wrong. She hasn't forgiven me yet. She hasn't forgiven you and me, Haruki-kun.
That's wrong.
Kazusa hasn't forgotten about what happened 5 years ago at all. She hasn't forgotten how she was betrayed by me and how she had you stolen from her.
I just told you that's wrong. Kazusa doesn't resent you at all, Setsuna. She has kept loving you ever since that time.
One doesn't bear just one single feeling. Everyone is like that.
Setsuna is too kind and too strong. Even I love Kazusa. I've loved her since back then. Yet more evidence for my thruple theory. She bears the form of the ideal woman who hasn't changed since the day we met. She's still completely wasted on me.
But that's not everything. I bear feelings that I can't tell anyone about. Especially not you, Haruki-kun.
She's a misguided yet utterly virtuous woman who's degrading me into a miserable man who only wants to take advantage of her. She's turning me into someone who will give her nothing but excuses.
That's why this isn't a matter of not meeting her again. Even if you run away, even if you distance yourself from her, time won't solve anything.
Setsuna.
Kazusa, you and me. We must finally settle matters about our futures.
I've taken advantage of that kindness and made her suffer countless times. I've let myself be spoiled by her strength and abandoned her countless times.
That's why you should go back to Kazusa now. And then you must reassure her.
There is no guarantee that I won't do that again in the future. Yet, Setsuna keeps repeating the same mistake. That's why I'm not going after all.
Haruki-kun!
That's why today, once again, I'll become the me that I hate today. I'll let her turn me into a miserable man who can only run away, unable to solve anything by himself. I'll become such a person because of none other than Setsuna herself. I love you, Setsuna. Is that not enough?
It's not enough. Because that isn't it at all. You still love Kazusa.
But I'm afraid of making a mistake. I'm afraid of everything going back to how it was 5 years ago. I know the right choice. It's right before my eyes. But when I'm next to that girl, I always make the wrong choice. I end up wanting to make the wrong choice.
It's okay. I have faith in you. No, I'm sorry. I really can't say that.
Yeah.
Just so you know, it's not because I don't have faith in you. It's because I do have faith in you, Haruki-kun.
What are you saying? She can't have faith in me because she has faith in me?
I have faith in the strength of your feelings towards Kazusa. I have faith in your love towards Kazusa. That's why can't have complete faith that you'll return to me.
Setsuna spoke those linguistically incorrect words with both distinctiveness and correctness.
I want you to be happy, Haruki-kun. I want Kazusa to be happy. And I want to be happy myself. I love you, Haruki-kun. I love Kazusa. And I love myself. Now that the three of us are here, I can't pick one's happiness over another's. It has troubled me all this time. It's troubling me even now. And I can't come to a conclusion. That's why I can't accept you right now. I'm sorry for being so argumentative.
Setsuna,
Hey, Haruki-kun, running away is bad. That goes for the both of us.
Setsuna, you're... I'm amazed you can tolerate being the girlfriend of such a despicable man. That's something I've had on the tip of my tongue all this time. The bitter irony towards the woman with terrible luck with men. I've never wanted to tell her this more than now. No, it's nothing. But I've also never bit my tongue this hard either.
Go back, Haruki-kun.
All right. Because I've never wanted to tell her. I want you to remain as the girlfriend of this despicable man more than now either. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Poor Kazusa. Haruki has skipped out on her concert and went to see Setsuna. I'm sure Setsuna is glad to see him, but how will Kazusa take this? Yoko seems to have already figured it out. Hopefully, it's not going to cause any problems for Kazusa at her concert. But we shall see.